Coyote fans, welcome into the Coyote Volleyball Show presented by Scooters Coffee. South Dakota coming off of a weekend off. No matches over the weekend, but of course a 5-set win last Thursday at North Dakota. Coach, let's talk about that matchup on Thursday. Your team had been coming off of a couple of losses. You go on the road, long trip to Grand Forks, and grind out a win, and really took everything this team had to find a way to get a win up there Thursday night.
Yeah, I mean, I was proud of the way that we continued to stay patient, throughout the match. And last week was a lot about trying to work on ourselves, get better individually and as a team, and kind of get back to Coyote volleyball a little bit, because we had obviously talked about the fact that we felt like we lost ourselves for a little bit. But, I think being on the road is always tough after that. And North Dakota has been a tough place for us to play the last few years. I believe it's the last 3 have gone to 5 sets now. But, I think even through that match, there were times that we just made a few too many errors again, but then there were times that we really saw things moving in the right direction. So to be able to stay patient, I think after losing that first set, and to be able to come back and just get a little bit better as the match went on was really good to see. I think overall it was the step that our team needed to take, and excited to see what we can do next.
I always think it's tough when you've lost a couple and then your backs are against the wall. It's easy to say, here we go again. And this team, as we've seen time and time again, we use the word resiliency all the time with this team, but they find a way to put themselves in a position like this.
Yeah, I mean, I think resilient is a good word that we can continue to use about this team, and doesn't mean that every single time we're going to come away with a win. I don't think that that's what it's always going to look like, but the fight was there. The effort was there. The intentionality was there. We just, when we got better, some people just executed at a little bit of a higher rate. Kylen being one of them, kind of took the team on her back in a way, and she actually asked at one point in time, can I start in the front row? And wasn't our initial thought, just based on some of the other factors, but we ended up making that switch, and I think it was the right one. Got her the ball earlier and allowed her to kind of take over a little bit more, which was good to see. And I think it actually eased some other people's minds, because they knew that there was somebody next to them that was playing at a really high level, and then they can kind of jump on her back as we went.
Kylen, 21 kills. I think that's the second time she's done it this year, third time in her career. Sometimes as a hitter, you just feel like everything works.
Yeah, and I think what's great about it is her last match before that was Omaha, and she did not have her greatest match, and we ended up taking her out of the match. But we really rested her. She's got some things she's dealing with physically, and that's a part of it's a part of being a Division I student athlete. It's a part of being a senior in some ways. So we were able to rest her, and I think her mindset was it was in such a good spot on Thursday. So I was really happy to see her be resilient. After a match that could have started to affect her confidence a little bit. I think she got better through it, and she was definitely ready to play, and we needed her to be. But it was really, really good to see, and I'm happy that she was able to accomplish that.
We've talked a lot about lineup changes that you've had, and that has continued. Is it a matchup thing? How do you sort through starting lineup?
I mean, I do think that, our depth continues to be something that I think can set us apart in some ways. And we've been very happy with the way our practices have gone throughout the entire season. It's competitive in our own gym, which means we're going to be prepared for people across the net from us that aren't wearing the Coyote jersey. But, I think in some ways, some of those matchups that we're looking at, some of it is offensive and some of it is defensive. And some of it is a gut feeling, at times, just what are we seeing? What are the stats showing? What does that chemistry look like? And, I think this one, at least this week, I think it ended up being some of the right calls. But I continue to believe that our depth is going to be used, and it's going to help us be the best version of us as we continue through the year.
You look at this team, and obviously it goes into a weekend off, and how do you handle a weekend off? You don't want to take all the time off because you've still got things you're trying to build on and stay in rhythm. But at the same time, players, coaches, everybody at times need a reset during the season.
Yeah, and that trip was hard. One, we went 5 sets, so obviously it's going to be later as it is. And then 2, our food ended up not being delivered. The restaurant just essentially didn't do the food, so we ended up having to stop and get food before we left town, which added probably another 45 minutes to it. And then we didn't get back until after 4 a.m. So with that, we ended up giving them Friday off. We were planning on just doing a lifting session, but I know how I felt after that trip, and I'm sure our players didn't feel that much better. So gave them that day off, and then we ended up practicing Saturday morning. And I think to go 3 straight days without practice, I don't think would have been in our best interest. So had a quick practice on Saturday morning, got some reps in, got some focused work done, which was really good to see. And I think our team handled it really well. And then obviously had Sunday off. So I was happy they were able to go to the football game. They were happy to kind of be a part of, that college experience, and that's something that we don't get all the time. So I was happy that they were able to be a part of that. But obviously now the work starts again today.
You bring up some of the challenges with the road trip, and I think there are a lot of road trips for our teams that go smoothly. But there are plenty of stories that our fans never understand that the teams have to deal with that they never know about. Little things behind the scenes that just add more to either not getting as much sleep or the challenging travel, some of that. I know you have to fight through that, and that's why so many people say it's so much harder to win on the road because there's so many different variables.
Oh, for sure. And honestly, our fans shouldn't know about a lot of those things. It's if so, then we're probably not looking at it the right way, because then we're complaining a lot. But I just feel like you control what you can, and you move on from the things you can't control. And the food situation, hotels not being able to have late checkout or not being able to check in when we first get there, like those things happen. But I think how you react to it is probably the biggest thing of just being able to move on from it. So as long as we've done everything that we're supposed to do leading up to it, and those errors aren't because of something that we forgot to do, obviously it happens, but we just find a solution and move on.
Well, the good news is the Coyotes are home this week. We'll talk about those matches coming up in just a little bit with head coach Leanne Williamson. Up next, though, Kylen Sealock joins the Coyote Volleyball Show. That's on the way. This is the Coyote Volleyball Show, presented by Scooters Coffee.
This segment brought to you by Scooters Coffee. Scooters Coffee. Amazing drinks, amazing people, amazingly fast.
Back in the Coyote Volleyball Show, presented by Scooters Coffee. This week, our special guest is Kylen Sealock, a senior on the Coyote Volleyball team. Coming off of a weekend off, Coyote Volleyball. Kylen, how was the weekend off? Just a chance to, maybe not completely off, but a chance for no matches and maybe a little bit of a reset for your team.
I think having this weekend off was obviously pretty great for us. We've had a pretty busy preseason and start to conference, so having this weekend off, we can really relax and catch back up on our homework and all of that fun stuff. But yeah, it's been really great to relax and kind of let our bodies recover a little bit more.
It helped going into that weekend off, coming off of a victory last Thursday at North Dakota, and that felt like an important win for your team coming off of a couple of losses, but to find a way to grind out a 5-set win at North Dakota, how important was that inside the locker room?
I think that was really important for us. Obviously, last week, coming off of our losses, we tried to stay really disciplined and focus on our side of the net, whether that be with the scouting report, just staying disciplined on our side of the net. But I think that having this win this past Thursday is really good for us moving forward, giving us that confidence, getting back to where we know we can play.
You played at a very high level on Thursday at North Dakota. I believe tied your career high with 21 kills. Third time you've done that, twice this season, but third time in your career. What was working for you on Thursday?
I think sometimes I kind of just get into the mindset of we're not going to lose this game. And I kind of just go out swinging balls to the wall. Sometimes that kind of bites me in the butt at times, but I think it worked out really well in our last game. And I had that fight, and all the support from my teammates hyping me up was definitely keeping me going.
You've been through games where you feel like you can't get any swing past the blockers, and then there's games where you feel like any set that comes your way, it's going to be a point for South Dakota. When you're in one of those lulls and you're not finding the lanes that you want to find, how do you try to stay into it mentally and just find that swing?
It can be difficult at times, but I think just communicating with my teammates, they're really good at sharing information, and if certain shots aren't working, they'll give me a spot on the floor to try to look for and try to hit if I'm in certain situations, and I think that's very helpful for me.
Now, how about when you're on that high side and everything seems like it is going down for you like it was on Thursday? Do you go to Avery and the setters and just say, hey, give me the ball because we're getting points?
Yeah, those moments definitely do happen, especially in games like that where it's very competitive and we have lost a set or a few. I think that I really just get this energy and I want the ball, and I probably show it on my face, and my adrenaline is going I definitely have those moments where I'm like, you can set me, give me this ball, I'm going to put it away.
How would you describe this season? You've spent your career at South Dakota. This might be one of the more balanced teams that you've been on. How would you describe this season where somebody, any given day, can step up and be a leader for this group?
I think our team is very special this year. We've talked about it a lot, but we have a lot of depth on our team. And if certain things aren't working on the court, we have the ability to pull someone onto the court to bring energy, to bring a new look. And I think that that's what's really special about us, because it doesn't really look like it's out of rhythm for us either, because we are all practicing together every single day and pushing each other, that we can support whoever's on the court and anyone can have their moment on any given day.
I mentioned your career at South Dakota, and I know you'll get a chance eventually to look back at it, but to this point, it's crazy to think that it's close to ending for you. It's been such a great career, and you've been like building every single year while at South Dakota. When you look back at your time at South Dakota, I mean, how do you describe it?
I don't even have all the words to describe it, and I think it's going to be even harder to have this conversation and talk about it when it's actually over, but I'm just enjoying every last moment of this because, like you've said, it's just been getting better and better, and I couldn't ask for a better school and better coaches, better teammates. I love it here.
Big week this week, couple of home matches. We need to get a lot of people here to watch this team, don't we?
We do. We definitely do.
You got a match Thursday, and then, of course, on Saturday as well. This starts a really compacted schedule for your team. 5 matches in 10 days. I know you talked about getting the bodies to rest this past weekend and having that opportunity, but now with so many matches coming up in a short amount of time, how do you try to recover your bodies in a way that you can keep playing at a high level?
I think it's just focusing on what everyone needs individually, whether that be like after practice, going to get treatment, or doing treatment in between classes or in the morning before classes. Just staying disciplined and making sure that everyone is recovering in the way that they need to.
What have you been able to offer some of the new players into the program as a veteran on this team and a senior? What have you been able to offer them to help them establish themselves at South Dakota?
I would say I've just tried to focus on instilling that confidence in them and just supporting them because, I mean, as I came in as a freshman, I was nervous. When it came to game days, anything like that, I had a lot of nerves. So just giving them that extra confidence, whether that just be like a little compliment or reassurance, like that was a good swing, like take that again if it happened to go out of bounds or something, like just giving them that little bit of support at times when the nerves can probably be pretty high. I think that's been what's worked the best.
What do you want to see out of this team this week to make sure that your team is still taking those steps towards your goals that you have at the end of the season?
I would say just keep playing with the joy and resilience that we have, and getting back to how we played on Thursday and how we've been playing through the preseason, just with that confidence and love for the game.
Well, keep up the great work and good luck this week.
Thank
It should
you.
be a fun week at home.
Thank you. It
All
will
right.
be.
That's Kylen Sealock joining us here on the Coyote Volleyball Show. When we come back, we'll be rejoined by head coach Leanne Williamson. We'll talk about this week's matchups in the Sanford Coyote Sports Center Thursday and Saturday. This is the Coyote Volleyball Show presented by Scooters Coffee.
This segment brought to you by Scooters Coffee. Scooters Coffee. Amazing drinks, amazing people, amazingly fast.
Back in the Coyote Volleyball Show presented by Scooters Coffee. We are visiting with South Dakota head volleyball coach Leanne Williamson. Coyotes are back home for a couple of matches this week. Coach, we just talked to Kylen Sealock, a player who obviously is a senior and spent her career here. She's continued to get better and better, and coming off of that performance we talked about last Thursday, but I know a player that's been a big part of this program.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch her grow, and it's kind of fun as once they get to this position in their careers, just to talk about like, do you remember your freshman year? Do you remember where you were at? You remember how you came in, and they all feel like, it feels like it was forever ago, but it also feels like it was just yesterday. And I remember her as a freshman and a lot of the things that she was or wasn't great at the time, and she's just grown so much during her time here. I think the confidence level for sure has grown a ton, and her being able to, feel like she can take over matches, feel like she can really impact this team at a high level. And And her leadership isn't necessarily as vocal, as other people, but she leads by example. And I think people truly enjoy her and respect her and want her opinion with things too, though. So it's been fun to watch her grow into the person that she is now, and definitely excited to see what else she's able to accomplish here, but then even beyond here.
Hopefully she can keep things rolling the way she did Thursday. This week, your team back home for a couple of matches. Kansas City on Thursday night and then North Dakota State on Saturday afternoon. Another grind of matches coming up, but this time at home, that'll be nice for this group.
Yeah, I think, again, anytime we can be at home, it's going to be huge, but I think this stretch is pretty good for us. Obviously a lot of matches here coming up, but at the same time, more than half of them are at home. So I think that'll be nice to be able to be here and honestly even just have a full week of practice, where we're in Vermillion. It makes a difference for us. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to obviously what this team can continue to get better at throughout this week with being at home, and I think being able to draw from our crowds, being able to have that confidence level could be huge for us as well.
I know Thursday starts a 5-match and 10-day stretch for your team, which can be a lot together. Do you have to adjust practices leading up to it and throughout the course of it to try to make sure that bodies are still being able to recover the way that they need to perform at a high level?
We haven't really had to adjust practices at all. We obviously have that day off each week that will come kind of in the middle of the stretch there, but more of it is probably just how we are running our practices. Do we have to limit more people? Yeah, the answer is going to be yes there, and some of it is because of injuries, and some of it is because of the load that they're carrying, but we need to make sure that they're at their best on game days. So we got to get the work done. We got to make sure that we're getting the reps in, but we're going to be very aware of just how much we're asking them to do throughout this stretch.
What's the key for this week for your team as it continues to build forward? What do they need to do to give itself a chance to win?
Yeah, we just looked at stats a little bit, conference stats, this morning as a staff, and I think the good news is we are still number one in points per set as a team, 1 or 2. So we're earning our points at a really high level. We're just also still giving too many points. So I think that there's some positives there. We're not trying to flip some of the errors into kills or into blocks or whatever that may be. We just have to limit our side of the net and make sure that we're as clean as we can be. And we've had stretches where we're really good in that area. So it's in there. I think that there's a few things that we can tweak. We started to do that a little bit more on Thursday, just more game planning, scouting, kind of understanding what's happening on the other side. That helped us in that moment. But more of it is going to be way more on us right now than it is going to be on somebody else. Because if we can't control our side, it doesn't matter what they're doing on their side. So we'll have some keys. We'll know the tendencies, but we're definitely going to continue to focus on our side of the net.
I know the pink game is on Saturday. That's always a special time, special to be a part of.
Yeah, and I hope that the word gets out and that people are able to come out and be supportive of that. And it is a game that we enjoy being a part of. Each year we look forward to that. But obviously right now we're still trying to be focused on Thursday.
No question. Coach, enjoy the week. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
All right, that's Leanne Williamson, the head volleyball coach at the University of South Dakota. That's going to do it for us this week. I'm John Thayer. This has been the Coyote Volleyball Show presented by Scooters Coffee.
The Coyote Volleyball Show is brought to you by Scooters Coffee. Scooters Coffee. Amazing drinks, amazing people, amazingly fast.